Each year, me and one of my closest friends, who we'll call Dane, go down to visit his grandparents at their cabin in a nice, small, peaceful town in the North Georgia mountains. Me, my friend, and his grandpa are all outdoors kind of guys, so we're always looking for something fun for all of us to do around the area. One night, we decided to go on a night hike on a trail not too far from the cabin. Now, this isn't your kind of trail you're probably thinking of. It really is a gravel dirt road, but a lot of hunters, campers, motorbikers, and backpackers use it. We headed out to the trail, and right as we pulled up to the trail, we noticed that an older, beat-up, suspicious-looking black Chevy SUV with two middle-aged men in it parked next to the entrance of the trail. Now, even though this is a safe area, drug deals and other kinds of sketchy activity can occur deep in these woods. So we avoided going on that trail, and we decided to head down to another trail about a half a mile down the road. We pulled about 50 or so feet into a trail that was just outside of view from the road. We parked the truck, got out, and started our hike. Our hike was off to a great start until we got a mile in, when we started to hear a dog bark from probably about 300 feet away. We decided to keep going, but the dog just would not stop barking. And we didn't know if the dog was on a leash or not and could come attack us, so we decided to turn around and we headed back. When we were about 1,000 feet away from the truck, we could see a car sitting behind my friend's grandpa's truck running with the headlights on. This instantly made us worried because who would just roll up behind a random truck at 10 at night on an isolated trail? Keep in mind, you would have had to drive on the trail to see where we parked the truck. It was not visible from the road. We stood there for about 5 minutes trying to see if we could see anybody, but since it was so dark and pretty far away, it was hard to see anything. Fortunately for us, there was a pretty large tree next to the trail we were able to stand behind, so there was no way these guys could see us from where they were at. My friend's grandpa took these night vision binoculars out and get a better look, but it was still not much help. We decided just to stand there and wait for them to turn around and leave because there was no chance that we were about to go back and walk next to a random car with potential bad people in it sitting behind our truck. After about 10 minutes of just standing there, to my absolute horror, the car drives around the truck and it starts to head down the trail in our direction. As fast as we could, we climbed up this hill right next to us and hid behind a log that was sitting up on top. A few seconds later, the same beat-up black Chevy SUV we saw outside the other trail we were originally supposed to hike on comes driving down, and it went right by where we were 15 seconds ago. The car had its windows rolled down and started to slow down as it drove past us. Me, my friend, and his grandpa were terrified, and our hearts were pounding out of our chests. And we were scared these guys would stop and sit there, or even worse, get out and start looking for us. Fortunately, the car just kept driving and never stopped. As soon as the car was out of sight, we got out of our hiding spot, booked it back to the truck, and got the hell out of there. I know this may not be as scary as some others, but it was definitely pretty frightening for us. We don't know who those guys were and what they wanted. My guess is they had a stash of something deep in that trail and they thought that we found it. And I guess they were looking for us, but we don't know what for. A lot of things could have gone wrong. We could have walked up to that truck just as it pulled in. And what if they got out and looked for us? What if they slashed the tires on the truck? Or what if they turned their headlights off and just sat there waiting for us to come back? My friend and his grandpa actually went back in the daytime a few days later to that exact spot where we were hiding and took some pictures. The first picture is where we were standing, looking at the truck and the car behind it. Off in the distance, you can see our truck parked. That's exactly where we had it. Just off to the left is a hill that we rushed up from the car. The second picture, you can see where our hiding spot was. After my friend and his grandpa went back, they said we were very lucky to have made it. Honestly, we were very lucky to make it up there successfully because it seemed impossible to do it as fast as we did, especially with all the shrubs and thorns in the way. If we got up there just maybe 2 seconds later, we would have been seen. And I can only imagine what could have happened if we didn't make it up that hill, and if those guys saw us. Right now, I'm an 18-year-old female. This event occurred when I was 11 or 12 years old. I still remember the day, December 1st. This is what led to my parents and I to have to get an alarm installed. One day my dad and I were home. I was in the living room watching Drake and Josh's Christmas special. Yeah, I remember exactly what I was watching. My dad was in the shower. It was just a regular casual afternoon until the doorbell rang. I paused the movie because, for me personally, we always lower the volume or pause the film when we have an unexpected guest. I was taught well enough to not open a door for anybody. If it was someone I knew that my parents told in advance, I would have opened the door, but this day, it was an unexpected guest. After I paused the movie, I ran to my room to look out the window to see who was at the door. My bedroom window is literally right next to the front door, so I can easily see who's there. But at the same time, it's easy enough to get caught. So I slightly pulled down the blinds, not giving away my position, and saw two black women standing there. After seeing them, I shrugged it off. I was thinking maybe they're promoting or selling something. I walked back to the couch and I waited a few more minutes. While I continued to watch the movie for the next few minutes, my heart dropped at what I saw at the back door. It was the two women, just standing there. I sat there frozen and unaware of what to do. Thankfully, my dad just finished showering and was entering the living room at the same time. He yelled, "Hey!" before running after them. Of course, they ran off, but my dad tried his best to capture the two women, but he couldn't catch them. A few seconds later, I heard tires screeching, which I assumed was their car. I wasn't entirely sure if it was just the two of them alone or if they had someone else in the car waiting for them. Whatever the case may be, we didn't encounter them again. I had no idea what their intentions were in the first place. Were they there to potentially rob us, kill us? Probably not, because I didn't see anything. No weapon, nothing. Anyways, I'm just glad that my dad and I are safe, as well as the household. We told my mom when she got home from work later that night. About a week or two later, we had an alarm system installed. The question still roams around my head when I think about this event is, why? Why us? Anyways, I'm glad that all of it was over. And wherever they are, I hope they didn't continue their actions and change their behavior for the better. A week ago, me and my little brother were walking our French bulldog Buster around our block to our mailbox. We live in a suburban neighborhood, so all of the mailboxes are located at a certain area, depending on what street you live on. We also just moved here about a month ago, and our community is brand new, so there are still some houses that are being built, and there's also empty lots here and there. But anyways, let's get to the story. My dad told us to walk our dog, and we went to go get our mail. As we were on our way back, a girl looked to be my age, which I'm a freshman in high school, and 14. She stormed out of her house and came out running and screaming, telling someone named Johnny to stop and leave her alone. She slammed the door and was holding a baby and running to another house. I thought she was playing around, but she was screaming bloody murder. Me and my brother kept looking over our shoulders because it was very off. When we reached our house, we informed our parents about it, and a few minutes later my dad, he came out saying that the cops are here. I immediately knew something went wrong over there. Also, before the cops came, a guy was running to a red Toyota Tacoma and sped out of there before the cops came. Then the fire department came, and so did 2 ambulances. I knew something severe had to happen because I'd say around 7 to 10 cops showed up to the house. Later in the week, we got a knock on our door. I was home alone with my brother. I looked through the peephole and I saw a man dressed as a detective at our front porch. I opened the door, and he asked if I was or anyone else near the house that I had previously mentioned. I told him everything that me and my brother witnessed. Then he told me something that shook me. He said that there had been a report of domestic violence in that house where we saw the girl screaming, holding the baby. She actually was the daughter of an alcoholic. The daughter's mother got into an argument with the father. The daughter and the baby had somehow got involved, which led to the monster hitting both of them. The reason why there were so many cops was due to the fact that the father drove off and he was claimed to be armed. A day later, The police discovered that he had took his own life at a power substation near us. The detective said that he was in the red Toyota Tacoma when he took his own life. Then I realized that was the same man that I saw sprinting to that red Toyota Tacoma. I'm still shocked about this because somebody took their life that I actually saw right before it happened. I hope that girl and that baby are okay because I haven't heard anything about them since.
Nightmare Files.